Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. I tell people when they come in, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. We've got the capability to process it, make it. If you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do your brisket blend. We'll do your chuck blend. We'll do your sirloin blend. We do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. It's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. People call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show. Today is a very sad day in the world of college football, as yesterday, unfortunately, we lost a living legend in head coach and national championship head coach, Lou Holtz. He won a national championship with Notre Dame way back in 1988, and his college football and NFL career in coaching lasted 5 decades. Yes, that is correct. We are doing a tribute to the late, great Lou Holtz today, right here on this edition of the Stingray Show, as we say, thank you for all of the memories, Coach Holtz, and may you rest in peace.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Look out, you're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee.
Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No.
Hey, Stingray, Here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good. It's kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah. But then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, with the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
Steve, Heath, I wish I could be with you today, but unfortunately my schedule just wouldn't allow. But I did want to send a couple of minutes of a message about, what Lou Holtz meant to me, not just as a broadcaster, but also as a friend and a confidant. My first year at CBS in 1996 was to do the NCAA tournament, but by 1997, I was calling games and football as well. And then in 98, when I was asked to host the College Football Today when CBS got the NFL back, I replaced Jim Nance as the studio host for the College Football Today. And my partners were Craig James, whom I had worked with before at ESPN, and Lou Holtz, who in 1988 was the head coach of the Fighting Irish, winning a national championship. I was in my second year of what was the first 2 seasons of the original College Game Day. And then to within 10 years later, call him a partner, somebody that I'd be working with on a regular basis. And he got to know my wife, my kids, and he was all in. You didn't just work with Lou Holtz. You became sort of a member of his inner circle. And then when he took the South Carolina job, my role was somewhat interesting in that I was friends with the athletic director at that time, the late Mike McGee. And Coach Holtz represented himself, and McGee kind of used me to communicate to Coach Holtz. Coach Holtz was very concerned about taking the job at South Carolina because No one loved being the Notre Dame coach any more than Coach Holtz, and he was concerned that if he took the job that he might be forgotten. That was never going to happen. More on him next week when I join you, but this is sort of a prized possession of mine. On my wall here in the office, that picture was shot on the game day set at the Fiesta Bowl in Tempe, and it's right up there with some of my all-time great moments here at Chateau Brando. I'll see you next week.
And with that, we want to welcome you inside the tribute show to the late, great Lou Holtz. We really do want to thank Tim Brando for sending that to me last night at midnight because he was not able to join us today.
Yeah, Stephen. Coach Holtz is one of my all-time favorites. I've talked about Coach Holtz so many times on this show. And, as a brand spanking new reporter straight out of college, I had read his book, Winning Every Day, and I was so excited to interview Coach Holtz. I don't get nervous interviewing people. That's very rare. But I was a little bit nervous to talk to Coach Holtz.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Holtz he was fun. He was funny. He was very fundamental on and off the field. And you just got to appreciate everything Coach Holtz stood for, did. I mean, he won the Presidential Medal of Honor.
Yes.
Name me the other college football coach that's done that, because I don't think there is one. So Coach Holtz was just loved by so many. But here's the thing a lot of people forget about Coach Holtz. He took the absolute worst jobs and made them into winners.
Yes.
And that is the craziest thing for married men out there. You know what it's like to be married and to balance a married life and the fatherhood life. It's hard at times. Coach Holtz took over an 0-11 South Carolina team, and his wife found out she had cancer right after he had taken that job.
Right.
And she had some kind of throat cancer. She couldn't talk, but she let him know, she communicated with him, he wanted to quit the job and take care of her. And she's like, no. Lou Holtz went to every single doctor appointment, every single treatment, everything. His first year at South Carolina, they went 0-11. And I think you can understand why when your wife has cancer and she's more important to you than your job.
Mm-hmm.
And so many college football coaches aren't like that. And that's what made Lou special. Not only did he put his family first, not only did he put his faith first, and he also put his fundamentals first. He won at just a high level as the guys that are the jerks of college football, the bums of college football, the not so nice guys off the field of college football.
Right.
Lou Holtz, he balanced it and won at a high level, and man, was he special, Stephen.
Speaking of that, he had 33 seasons as a coach at 6 colleges and 1 NFL stint where he went to the New York Jets in 1976 before returning to college. Now, here are the college and the NFL achievements that he had. William and Mary, that was his first job as a head coach, 69 to 71. He was a program builder there. Then he moved to North Carolina State and made them an ACC contender from 72 through 75. Then he went to the Jets, like I talked about, in 76 for 1 season. Then he went to Arkansas and turned them around with multiple bowl appearances and the Orange Bowl win from 77 to 83. Then he went to the Big Ten School of Minnesota in 1984. And then he went to Notre Dame, where he was there for 10 years from 86 to 96, winning the national championship at 12-0 in 1988. And then after that, in 99 through 2004, he resurrected the South Carolina program with multiple bowl appearances.
Yeah, I want to read this off since you read off the resume of head coaching stops. He worked under Woody Hayes as an assistant.
Yes.
He worked at Iowa under Hayden Fry.
Right.
Iowa was his first job. But Lou Holtz was told he would never go to college. He was not smart enough. He was not athletic enough. He wasn't this. Everyone always told him, like, Lou, you're not the smartest guy here. Lou, you're not the most athletic guy here. Lou, you talk with a lisp. People are never going to take you serious. And you got to remember, Lou grew up back in the 50s, the 40s and 50s.
Right.
So someone talking with a lisp, they were just kind of considered, I hate to say it, dumb, uneducated. Lou Holtz was the furthest thing from that. He was not a straight
dude, anybody that says Lou Holtz is dumb, he had back-to-back 12-win seasons at Notre Dame, and during that time included a 23-game win streak and one of the program's national titles there in 88. So dumb, I don't think so.
Yeah, well, he also had some best-selling books and was a public speaker for
Correct.
multiple decades. And
Yep.
people paid money to come see Lou or come hear Lou speak. Hey, Stephen, here's his coaching tree. Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
These are the people. Here, I'll just read it off. Holtz's influence extended far beyond his own sideline, shaping modern college football and professional football through his assistants and proteges, Urban Meyer, Pete Carroll, Barry Alvarez, and Monty Kiffin. All served under or played for Lou Holtz and went on to win national championships and Super Bowls in their own careers. His son, Skip Holtz, also became a successful head coach in the college ranks and an NFL assistant. So, you look at, not only the players that played under Lou, but, he had so many coaches. Urban Meyer, multiple national titles at multiple stops. Pete Carroll, multiple national titles. Barry Alvarez.
And Pete Carroll, multiple Super Bowl rings as well.
Yeah. Barry Alvarez. In my lifetime, Barry Alvarez is the best coach in Wisconsin ever.
Yes.
In my lifetime. I'm sure he ranks up there. He's got to be in the top 2 of all-time wins, if not at the top at Wisconsin. Monty Kiffin. Monty Kiffin changed the game with his defense, the Tampa 2 defense.
Mm-hmm.
He served and played under Lou. He was a best-selling writer, Stephen. And I talk about his book, Winning Every Day. It is by far my favorite book I've ever read, and I've read a lot of books. That book is the only book that has still to this day made me laugh out loud while reading it. Because the whole time you're reading it in Lou Holtz's voice, with his lisp. But Lou had so many great moments. Stephen, for the guy that was considered dumb and the guy that was considered slow and talked with a lisp, people threw money at him right and left to sit in their studio and talk.
Yep.
He was not an educated speaker. He was not a crisp, he didn't have a voice like Morgan Freeman or somebody like that.
No.
But he was so entertaining. And I will say this. We all like quick-witted coaches. I don't think there was anyone with a bigger or quicker wit than Lou Holtz. Just absolutely hilarious.
I will tell you this. Out of everything that Lou Holtz ever did, I want to get your take on, I want to get yours, and then I'll tell you mine. What was your favorite thing that Lou Holtz ever did?
Oh, wow, Stephen.
You may tell you mine.
Yeah,
While
go
you,
on. Tell me yours. Tell me yours.
Dr. Lou, Dr. Lou, Dr. Lou, the doctor will see you now on
Dr. Lou
ESPN.
segment was fabulous in the
Oh my
early,
gosh, dude.
like
I love
2007 to
yes,
2012.
yes,
Those Dr. Lou segments were absolutely hilarious. He'd pick a team and he'd give them a pep talk. He's like, "Hey,
yeah,
Coach Holtz, if you were coaching Michigan this week, what would you tell them? Hey, Coach, if you were coaching the La Tech Bulldogs, what would you tell them?" Because there'd be a random Thursday night game. There would be a random Maction game on during the middle of the week, a Conference USA game. And Lou would say, Lou would be the head coach of, the Central Florida Knights.
right,
He always delivered. Lou was just fascinating. I liked Lou from, I liked him because he seemed like your favorite uncle, your favorite, he was his grandpa uncle like figure,
right,
but he kept you held accountable so high. Stephen, there was this one story um, in his book, Winning Every Day, and it was told at the beginning of the story. There was some offensive lineman that he was coaching at Notre Dame, and he just sat there and he thought this kid was not giving his best. And this kid was a preseason All-American.
right,
And this All-American thought he was being judged unfairly. And so he sat there, they come together, and he said, "We're going to get your position coaches in here. We're going to get the GAs in here. I told them to watch you and grade you every play. We're going to sit everybody down." And this is before the season started. And so they sit down and they start talking. And he said, "Coach, I just think you're holding me to too high of a standard. I think you're holding me to a ridiculous high standard." And he goes, "And I don't think it's fair." He goes, "I'm your best lineman on this team, and I'm the best lineman of any team we're going to play this year." And he said, "And I'm playing good." And Lou said, "That's the problem right there. You're playing good.
mm-hmm,
And I know that you can play great." And he said, "If you want me to hold you to be an all-conference type player, you want me to hold you to that standard? I can do that, but I'm cheating you. You're an All-American, and I'm going to hold you to an All-American standard." And you said it. You're the best lineman on this team, and you're the best lineman of any team we're going to play this year. And that's the standard I'm going to hold you to because I expect that.
right,
Because you know you're good. We know you're good, but you're, or he goes, you know you're great, and I know you're great, but you're just playing good. I want you to play great. I'm
yes,
going to hold you to an All-American standard. He said that kid went out and just absolutely dominated. He said he made the guys beside him better. He made the backups better. And every team they played, they couldn't stand him
right,
because he was the best player on the field. And Lou Holtz had a lot of talent on his field. And so, Lou was able to bring that out of people.
oh yeah,
Stephen, he also told another story, and there was a big thing when he was at Arkansas. I'm surprised you don't have any Arkansas stuff up since he was head coach at Arkansas. But, Lou talked about this in his book as well, that some players were holding out. They were upset at Coach Holtz, and they were going to hold out of the bowl game. And Arkansas had won the Southwest Conference, going to the Orange Bowl, and they were getting to play Oklahoma, who was in the Big Eight. And he sat there and he was just like, us to play, Oklahoma, this is one of the biggest games in school history. There's historical U.S. history beef between Arkansas and Oklahoma. And he said, and we're going to have these players sitting out. And so he talked about, oh, there's your Arkansas. I see it up there.
yes. I had to look for it. There's a hog and the football helmet up there. So yeah,
But then he said that they these players were holding out. They didn't know what they were going to do about this. And he said, so I went and got this attorney, and he was talking because they were, and I forgot what the players were upset about. But anyway, they go to the press conference and they said, their side said, we're up now to other players joining us. We're up to, something like 18 players holding out. And his attorney comes up and said, we hear about this going on. I hear about the players holding out. And we're going to address these 3 players that are holding out. And they're like, wait, they said they had more players dropping out. And you said there's 3. And the attorney said, that's correct. And it's like, well, which number is correct? He goes, I think their side is losing momentum. I think they're starting to see the great opportunity in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at the attorney and after the press conference, and he was like, you've been talking to the other side. You didn't let me know. And he said, I hadn't talked to him yet. He goes, well, you just said there was 3 guys holding out, and they said they got more holding out. And he goes, I just put doubt on their side's mind. And he goes, they'll all come back and play.
Mm-hmm.
He said, sure enough, within like the next 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever it was, everybody was on the same page. Nobody was going to hold out. Everybody's going to the Orange Bowl.
Right.
All sides have been smoothed out. And he said, I can't thank that young attorney enough. He said, you might have heard of him. His name was Bill Clinton. I was like, wow. That situation by itself,
Right.
Bill Clinton decided to run for governor the next time it came up. And that situation kind of launched his career in front of all the households in Arkansas and got elected governor. And on a short note, Stephen, Bill Clinton makes a joke at his own presidential library. He's like, in 19 whatever, I was the youngest governor elected in America. 4 years later, I was the youngest former governor in America. It was always funny to hear Bill Clinton tell that joke. But, Lou Holtz, man. And how crazy is that? Bill Clinton, people do his voice and imitate him. People do Lou Holtz's voice. Could you imagine a conversation between those two? That's like a Saturday Night Live skit.
Hey,
those two go back and forth.
With the book that you read, do you happen to know the mantra that Lou Holtz lived by?
Oh, he had so many great things in that book.
Because I've got it.
Yeah, go on and give it to me.
Do the right thing. Do the best you can and show people you care. Those
Stephen,
were the 3-rule mantra, and it was more than just a quote to him as he modeled it in recruiting, practice, and post-game conversations, holding players accountable, just like you talked about, while showing personal concerns for their futures.
Stephen, you talk about him holding players accountable. And showing that you care. And I remember he told this story about caring. He said, if everybody in America or everybody in the world, if we all got together and we all agreed that we're going to make it the biggest priority in our life to cure cancer, how long do you think it would take? He said, I don't think it would take long at all. If we were all doing a part to do it, he goes, that might just be giving a couple of dollars a day. That might be reading something. That might be testing something, for an hour a day. But he said, just think if we all could get together and try. He goes, there's not a problem in the world we can't solve. There's not a situation that we can't overcome if enough people care. And that really hit me.
Mm-hmm.
That really hit me. And he's absolutely 100% right. And so if you're wondering why some things aren't happening at your business, if you're wondering why your favorite sports team, professional team, is not cutting it, not enough people are caring. And that's the thing, when you hire people or you're joining an organization or you're joining a team or anything in the sports world, in the business world, in ministry, whatever, you need to make sure there's enough people that care about a common goal, and they also care about you being part of achieving that common goal, because that's how you get success. And Lou talks about that in his book. I'm telling you, I've given that book out to so many people, and Lou wrote multiple books, and I read them all. But if you get the chance to read his books. I promise you'll love
Yep.
it. If you're in any kind of leadership or middle management, read that book. It is
Yes.
fascinating. And I will say this: if you're a kid straight out of college, definitely read that book.
Oh yeah.
It will influence your life and be so powerful
Yeah.
moving forward. I used to read that book once a year for many years in my 20s. And I think the last time I read that book, I think I was about 34, 35 years old. But I
Mhm.
bet you I've read Winning Every Day. Oh gosh, Stephen, 8, 9 times. I've read that a lot.
Heath, going back to his coaching tree, how can we forget with me, not us, me living in Alabama and you living in the Southeast, his son had back to back to back championships with the Birmingham Stallions
Yeah.
here recently. So we cannot leave out his son in the coaching tree of winning rings.
I make this joke all the time. When Skip was playing football in college,
Hmm.
and I think Skip was at Minnesota. He might be at Notre Dame,
Right,
but Skip was there during that time. I think he started at Minnesota and ended up at Notre Dame. You know what? Come to think about it, I think this game happened at Notre Dame.
right.
They needed his son played special teams.
I remember this.
Yeah, and they needed to get a stop. They were mounting a fourth quarter comeback. They had scored early in the fourth quarter to get it to single digits. They scored again with, I want to say, like 6 minutes left in the game. And he said, if we can just get one more stop, we can get the ball back and have a chance to win the game. Offense is just killing it second half. They're doing tremendous. Defense has definitely confused their offense, and they're getting worn down. Our defense is just wearing their offense down, he said, which is odd. He said, we get the stop. He said, we're going to get the ball back with under 4 minutes. And he said, we're going to have to drive this thing about, I think he said 65, 70 yards to win the game. And lo and behold, somebody on special teams runs into the punter and gets a flag, and it's none other than Skip Holtz, his son. His own son runs into the punter. Due to the penalty, they get an automatic first down. They pick up another first down,
And it's over.
and they were able to run out the clock. And Lou is just sick at his stomach. He said, that game, I knew. He goes, sometimes you don't know if you're going to win or not. Sometimes you have a good feeling. He said, I just knew that game we were going to win it. If we could just get the stop, I knew we were going to win it. And that costly special teams penalty cost them the game. And he said, I had crazy mixed emotions. He goes, first, I was madder than all get out. He goes, second, I had sympathy for my son. I'm his father. I'm
Right.
going to be here to console him. And he said, but I'm still more mad than
Yes.
sympathizing. So he goes to the press conference, and he knows the question is coming up. And sure enough, the very first question is, what do you think and have to say about that penalty there in the fourth quarter on special teams when your son ran into the punter and cost us a chance to win the game, cost the team the chance to win the game? And in typical quick-wit Lou Holtz fashion, he answered, he goes, now I understand why lions eat their young. I was like, what in the world? He said, tigers and lions eat their young all the time. And and he talked about how a lion will sometimes eat its cub after birth.
Hmm.
Lou Holtz. Of course, that got the entire room to laugh. And people were still upset. But, some people love Lou. Some people can't stand Lou and hated Lou. And that's okay. You can have your opinion on Lou Holtz or whatever it is and that you want. It's perfectly fine. I know Notre Dame spoke out against Lou on some of his political opinions, but we won't go down that road. But if you ever have been around Lou, and you hear people who worked with Lou, people who were, and they said he was hard to work for at times. He was, but Lou was at mass all the time. He made it a priority. He lived by his faith. And Stephen, if you read that book, Winning Every Day, Lou Holtz wanted that Notre Dame job since he was a teenager. He wanted that job. And every time a head coaching came up, Lou Holtz would call his wife at home multiple times a day. That's back when we had landlines and no caller ID.
Right.
He would call her over. Hey, did anyone call? Did Notre Dame call? Have we gotten a call yet from anybody? And never got the call. And until late into his career, he finally got that call. And I'll say this, there's a lot of people that have been very fortunate and very happy they were the Notre Dame head coach. Nobody was more appreciative, grateful, and just overly just compassionate about being the head coach of Notre Dame. He thought that was the next best job other than being the Pope.
Yes.
Lou Holtz loved that job.
Heath, with his quips, do you happen to know his famous one when he took the podium for the New York Jets job?
I remember he talked about calling Joey Namath. I know he talked about that and said that he was so professional and it was great. But no, I don't necessarily remember the exact thing that he said at the podium. Maybe I do. I've just forgotten it right now. But what did he say?
His first words: he was confident in public and humility in private. This is what he said, his opening statement. I believe in God, Lou Holtz, and the New York Jets in that order.
That's great.
I believe in God, Lou Holtz, and the New York Jets in that order.
That's great. Lou only served in the NFL, I think 1 year or 2 years.
1 year.
It didn't go good at all with the Jets.
3
and he talked about that in his book. And he just said, I remember him saying, talking about Joey Namath, he just said, professional football is completely different. He goes, I can't just pick up the phone and call Joe Namath.
Right.
I have to call his agent. His agent asked me all the things of why he wants to talk to him. Then his agent calls Joe Namath and expresses all that. And then Joe Namath decides if he wants to call Lou back or speak to the agent, and the agent talks back to the coach.
Right.
And he said, but he did say every time I called Joe Namath, he called me back immediately.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I have to call his agent. And then he said, within 90 seconds, he would call me. But he said some players were different. And he said, and that was the problem because Lou was trying to keep players accountable.
Yes.
And that was the problem. And he was trying to just get all of that, trying to get everybody on the same page with the Jets. And professional football is a different beast. It's just a completely different beast, and it just didn't work out.
Heath, I think to wrap this up with Coach Lou Holtz, before we move to the National Day of Today, I'm going to play for y'all again what we started with. Tim Brando sent us a quick 2-minute and 30-second video last night talking about his relationship with Coach Holtz. We will end the tribute part of this show with me re-airing the part of the Tim Brando video that he sent me last night talking about his good friend Lou Holtz.
Steve, Heath, I wish I could be with you today, but unfortunately my schedule just wouldn't allow. But I did want to send a couple of minutes of a message about, what Lou Holtz meant to me, not just as a broadcaster, but also as a friend and a confidant. My first year at CBS in 1996 was to do the NCAA tournament, but by 1997, I was calling games and football as well. And then in 98, when I was asked to host the College Football Today when CBS got the NFL back, I replaced Jim Nance as the studio host for the College Football Today. And my partners were Craig James, whom I had worked with before at ESPN, and Lou Holtz, who in 1988 was the head coach of the Fighting Irish, winning a national championship. I was in my second year of what was the first 2 seasons of the original College Game Day. And then to within 10 years later, call him a partner, somebody that I'd be working with on a regular basis. And he got to know my wife, my kids, and he was all in. You didn't just work with Lou Holtz. You became sort of a member of his inner circle. And then when he took the South Carolina job, my role was somewhat interesting in that I was friends with the athletic director at that time, the late Mike McGee. And Coach Holtz represented himself, and McGee kind of used me to communicate to Coach Holtz. Coach Holtz was very concerned about taking the job at South Carolina because no one loved being the Notre Dame coach any more than Coach Holtz. And he was concerned that if he took the job that he might be forgotten. That was never going to happen. More on him next week when I join you, but this is sort of a prized possession of mine. On my wall here in the office, that picture was shot on the game day set at the Fiesta Bowl in Tempe, and it's right up there with some of my all-time great moments here at Chateau Brando. I'll see you next week.
Man, Tim Brando, you gotta love. Oh, sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. But dude, I tell you, Tim Brando, such a class act.
Yeah.
And can you imagine the conversations between he and Lou Holtz? Man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Stephen, I want to share one quick story. When I was a young member of the media and got to go to SEC Media Days. And for those that don't know, the people that have been around and been doing sports for a long time, they hate going to SEC Media Days. And I understand it now, being older. You go to SEC Media Days and all the coaches say the same things and all the players say the same things. And most of the player interviews are not good.
Right.
And because they're scared of all the cameras, because they've never been in front of that many cameras ever. The cameras they're in front of on their campuses, they know those guys by first name. And now they're in a room with a bunch of different cameras, so they kind of tense up and they kind of, back away from that situation, and they don't want to say anything to be bulletin board material either. And so everyone just kind of freezes. But you're away from your family, you're doing all that. So there's a lot of guys at SC Media Days that don't want to be there. And so there's a lot of young media members there. And and I used to love it. I love going to media days. I will say there toward the end, you're like, oh my gosh, can we please, can we please get out of here? But I remember Lou Holtz was coming, and I want to say it was the second day or third day of media days. And I stayed up that night thinking of I wanted to get a sound bite out of Lou Holtz, like a national sound bite out of Lou Holtz. And I stayed up and I stayed up and I said, and here's the thing, in your room, you might have 25 different people trying to ask questions. You got him for 10 minutes.
Right.
So you might get one question in and that's it. Sometimes you go in your room and there's 6 people there and 3 don't care. And you can ask all the questions you want. And so I'm trying to get questions. And so, and I'm trying to be smart too. Never got nervous interviewing anybody. until Lou Holtz walked in that room. And I was like, oh my gosh, there he is. There's Lou. There, he's taller than you think. He looks like he's a small, wiry guy. And he comes across that. Lou's he was like almost 6 foot. He was about 5'11" or so.
Right.
He wasn't out as you look at him on TV and you think he's like 5'5". But he's not. But he is scrawny. So anyway, he walks in, and most coaches just kind of walk in and just kind of march to the table. Lou walks in. Hello, everybody. I'm Lou Holtz. I'm the head coach of South Carolina. Hope everyone's having a good day today. And then he sits down. He said, "You just let me know when you're ready, and we'll go." And so, other coaches who sit there and, all right, who's first? They're very not personable, but so some guys got their questions in. And so I said, Coach Holtz, you're in your second year at South Carolina. At your second year at Arkansas, you did this. Your second year at Minnesota, you did this. Your second year at Notre Dame, you did this. And I was going through his high successes, and I said, you're getting ready to end. Maybe I said third year. I did say third year. Your third year, you did this. Your third year, you did that. Your third year at Notre Dame, you won the national title. How close are you to turning this thing around at South Carolina? And when he froze and started looking up like he was thinking, I was like, I got him. I'm about to get my sound bite. I'm about to get it. Like I knew, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about this. And so Lou sits there and goes, how close am I to a national championship? And he's like, well, if Alabama wins it, I'm probably about 440 miles away. And if Florida wins it, I'm like 600 or not that far, 230 miles away. And heck, if Clemson wins, that's in my own state. I'm only like 77 miles away. That's how far I am from a national championship. Of course, the entire room dies laughing, So I was in one of the smaller rooms, TV rooms. I wasn't in the huge press room where, the ballroom where there's hundreds and hundreds of media. If you got a camera, they send you off to a TV room, and there's probably like, I don't know, 5. Back then there's probably 3 to 5 TV rooms. And so anyway, I got a huge laugh out of everybody. And so other people started coming in our room when I asked that question. Then other people started asking questions, which made me mad because that took questions away from me. Anyway, I get home to the hotel that night, turn on Sports Center, and they said, funny moment happened at SEC Media Days today. Lou Holtz had this to say. And so someone heard the laugh, came in there, found out, got the footage, and you don't hear my voice. But they said someone asked Coach Holtz, how far is he from winning a national championship? Since he did it in year 3 at Notre Dame. This is what he had to say. And so they played that clip. And then my mother, I went out to eat for dinner. I thought I was about to start having dinner with Ted Turner. He was going to hire me right off the bat. I was asking such a wonderful question. But I go out to dinner. I eat dinner. I come back. I called my parents, and my mom said, hey, did you see what Lou Holtz said today at SEC Media Days? I said, Mom, I'm the one that asked that question. Well, I didn't hear your voice. But it was, I was so excited that somebody else had seen that. And I remember driving home, Southern Sports Tonight with Scott McKinney. I remember driving home after Media Days, and they were like, yeah, SC Media Days was fun this year. So-and-so said this was a big story. And he said, and Coach Holtz told the show with that one question. I was like, that was my question. I'm just driving down the interstate. I'm so proud of myself. I didn't get a pay raise. I didn't get a bonus. I didn't get squat for that question. I never got an interview. I never got anything. Job offer, nothing.
I don't know about that, Heath. You got confidence, and that's the best thing that you can get, brother. Confidence in yourself.
Especially when, you've been doing this media thing for just a year or two at the time.
Right.
That might have been my third year. I can't remember. But I remember
don't say it was for nothing, man. Don't say it was for nothing now.
I appreciate that, Stephen. But yeah, Coach Holtz, man,
Yep.
he was such a lot of people say that he wears his welcome out at places.
Hmm.
Notre Dame said that, when he got let go. South Carolina people had said that.
Right.
But I'll say this: I think a lot of people would welcome back Lou Holtz in his prime anywhere in this country, even knowing what you know.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it'd be welcome back. So,
Hey.
yeah, Lou Holtz. There's never been one like him before. There won't be one like him afterwards, and we're going to miss him. Stephen, I'll say this: how great is it in a country that we live in that we have a sport like football? Like football's not played in all the countries, and of course,
No.
our country started it. But here's an American boy that grew up in Liverpool, Ohio, where Lou Holtz was born. He grows up in Liverpool, Ohio, which is on the border of West Virginia. And here he is, talks with a lisp, was able to walk on. They said he couldn't get into school. He got into school. They said he would never graduate. He graduated, and then he got a master's degree.
Yep.
And then, you're never good enough to play football, and now he becomes this football coach and a great one. And here he is with a lisp, overcoming this. You know how many presidents? Think if a lot of guys will talk about this. They don't people didn't want to hire Mike Leach because they were like, I'm scared of what he's going to say. He didn't even have a speech impediment. And then here comes Lou Holtz, and some people don't want to hire a coach because he's too fat, or he looks like a slob. We don't want the universe. Coach O, perfect example. Coach O is the perfect example. He talks funny. We don't want him representing our university.
Right.
He's a good coach. He's a great recruiter. You want this guy to be part of your university.
Hmm.
And Lou Holtz had to deal with that too. But not only did he overcome all of that, he was a spokesperson for companies.
Yes.
I remember Shell gas stations hired him, and I remember that commercial. He's like, "You know what you need, Thon? You need a fight thong." When the guy's pumping his gas. I mean, that was absolutely hilarious.
Right.
So yeah, but Lou Holtz, God rest his soul.
Yep.
Thank you for the life you served. Good job, good and faithful servant, Lou Holtz. Rest in peace, Coach.
Heath, when I was reading the comments about Lou Holtz yesterday after the passing, shockingly enough, one topic and one question always came up about Coach Holtz. Do you know what it is? Because it actually makes sense and it's funny.
Is it the Ron Brewer quote? Because I'll mention that after this. Okay, what is it?
I wonder how many steps he took up and down the sidelines.
He marched.
Every comment was, I remember him pacing. I remember him pacing. He paced. How many steps do you think? That man never quit walking, and I guarantee you, with all of that walking, that is why he lived a long life, because it did not affect his heart.
Coach Holtz, he marched, he stomped, he stampeded,
Up and down and up and down and up and down.
and paced. But yeah, he did work that sideline hard. It was always funny to see him get mad at a player or a referee because they were always taller than him.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there looking up like he looks like kind of like a small chihuahua, a small poodle ready to fight anybody. You're like, it just always made you laugh. Ron Brewer was a backup running back at South Carolina, and they had some injuries. I think he started out. On special teams, and then they had to move him to fullback for a formation, and there were some injuries that happened, and then he kind of became. They had to change the offense. They had to permanently put him in at fullback, and then more injuries happened, and they had to move him to tailback. And Lou Holtz was just scared to death. Now, Ron Brewer was tough, and he was a tough runner. Ron Brewer was not fast at all. And here he is. They're giving him the ball. He is one of the focal points of the offense. And Lou Holtz is he's beside himself. and I think Ron Brewer was the MVP of the Outback Bowl one year, which probably still shocks, or until yesterday, shocked Lou Holtz to this day. But I remember Ron Brewer was a fan favorite because I think he was a former walk-on, and then he
Yep.
was with special teams, and he worked his way up. And now, due to injuries, they lost like 3 or 4 running backs. Now he's one of the backs back there, and so anyway, I remember at SEC Media Day, someone asked him about Ron Brewer. I think it was Media Days. It could have been at the bowl game. I can't remember. But they said, Coach, tell us about Ron Brewer. He goes, Ron Brewer is so slow. If he got in a foot race with a pregnant woman, he'd finish third every time. I was like,
Dang.
he was like, why does everyone keep asking me about Ron Brewer? He is the slowest running back I have ever seen in my entire life. And of course, that just made all the fans love Ron Brewer even more. But Ron Brewer is so slow. If he got in a foot race with a pregnant woman, he would finish third every time.
Yeah.
That is great.
Yes.
You got to love that quote. That's what made Coach Holtz so funny. He was so quick-witted about things.
So, Heath, look, man, rest in peace. And thank you for all of the memories that you gave us, Coach Holtz.
Stephen, maybe we can. You know what? We need to. Man, I don't know where that came from. Sorry.
Getting choked up, dude.
Yeah.
It's a sad day.
It is. It is. Maybe we can find when Coach Holtz's birthday is. We could do like a big tribute show. Hopefully, he was born in the summer.
Right.
We could do a big tribute show. See if we can't find Ron Brewer.
Mhm.
Because I remember Ron Brewer. I do remember Ron Brewer saying this at SEC Media Days. They said, what's one thing you would have changed to your time at South Carolina or something like that? He goes, I wish I'd have beaten the pregnant woman in a foot race is what I wish for. Which it was absolutely hilarious. But I would love to get Ron Brewer, any of his former players or coaches on, just one or two, and we could talk about Coach Holtz and let them tell stories because there's a trillion stories
Yes.
with Coach Holtz, especially losing his cool because he had a temper. He did. He had a temper, and he would lose his mind on the sideline. But, gosh, everybody loved Lou. They just loved the man, and he's going to be missed, Stephen.
Yes. All right. So, Heath, do you want to do a little bit of the national history today, or do you want to sign off there?
Oh, let's do national history, as always, man.
Okay. All right. Today is March the 5th, and so it is a Thursday. We have one thing dealing with food, and today is National Cheese Doodle Day.
Cheese doodle?
I have no idea what that is.
I was getting ready to ask you. Like, you ever see those bungles, those like triangle cracker chip things? You know what bungles are?
No.
You didn't ever eat bungles in like grade school? Like you put them on your fingers like they were fingernails. And anyway, when you say cheese doodle, it reminds me of a bungle for some reason. I have no idea what a cheese doodle is. But you know what? Why not? I'll try anything twice.
Actually, it looks like Cheetos, really.
Oh, yeah. Cheese puffs or Cheetos, yeah.
So I guess they were called cheese doodles because they were very popular back in the 1940s and were actually founded out of a family company called the Old London Foods back in either Wisconsin or down in New Orleans.
What? Wisconsin's known for cheese? What?
Oh, I know, yeah. All right. So, Heath.
Oh, Stephen, real quick, thank you for not doing your Cartman cheesy poof voice just then.
I know. That got old. All right. Heath, going to baseball in 1964. Can you tell me what major city gets a baseball team? And they're an NL team.
Would it be the amazing Mets of New York? No? All right, give me a second.
The mayor at that time was Ivan Allen Jr., if that helps. The mayor of the city.
the Dodgers moved out to Los Angeles, but I want to say that was in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'll give you a hint. There's still a major organization today.
let's just start going through NL teams. It's not the Phillies. It's not the Mets. Could it be one of the teams in Milwaukee? No, not Milwaukee.
It changed from Milwaukee to who?
Well, the Milwaukee Braves. I want to say there was a stop before Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta got a team until the late 60s, early 70s. But this is 64.
64. Milwaukee.
Wow. So the Braves, the Atlanta Braves happened in 64. I didn't think Atlanta was that big in 64.
March the 5th of 64, Atlanta gets the Braves.
Wow. And then they started having bad traffic. Actually, no, we had Bill Curry on. Bill Curry grew up in Atlanta, right outside of Atlanta. And he used to talk about seeing that billboard when he was a kid. And he was born in the 40s.
People.
Yeah, so Atlanta had 1 million people like in the 50s. So they had bad traffic in Atlanta. Gosh, Stephen, they've had bad traffic there for 80 years. Probably more than that.
Heath, 1971. Can you tell me what is first performed live in Belfast? It was performed live at the Ulster Hall in Belfast, but it was the first time ever that it was performed live, and it was a major song by Led Zeppelin.
Kashmir?
Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, wow.
By Robert Plant, Jimmy Page,
yeah.
John Bohannon, and James Paul Jones.
Wow. Hey, Stephen, I'll ask you first, what is your favorite Led Zeppelin song? It could be Stairway. But what is your favorite Led Zeppelin song that you can think of?
Crap. I'm gonna have to look this one up.
I'll go with Whole Lotta Love. And then I know you're not a baseball guy, but who's your favorite Atlanta Brave of all time?
Chipper. Either him or Smoltz.
Yeah, Smoltzy was fun.
Yep.
Smoltzy was fun. I was always a Greg Maddux guy. Loved me some Greg Maddux.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
I'll throw out. I liked all the first basemen that the Braves had back in the day. I liked Sid Bream. I liked the big cat, Andres Galarraga. I liked Crime Dog, Fred McGriff. But one guy that was always overlooked on those Braves team, Mark Lemke, second baseman. Loved me some Mark Lemke, man.
Yes.
But, coaching baseball and teaching young kids things, when you're teaching a kid to pitch, they just want to get up there and throw it hard as they can, and then their arm gets tired after 15 pitches. And I keep telling them, like, you don't have to throw hard. There's a guy named Greg Maddux. He was one of the best pitchers ever. He's one of my favorite. He probably is my favorite pitcher of all time. And I was like, they called him the professor. And I was like, he didn't throw hard. He purposely didn't throw hard. He would take some off the ball so he could do this, with the ball, and, he could put it exactly where he wanted it. So I always kind of teach that at the beginning. Just take a little bit off of it and see if you can't get it across the plate. But yeah. So Stephen, your favorite Led Zeppelin song is?
Whole Lotta Lovin'.
Well, there you go.
Yep. All right. 1973. Music again. One of the most iconic albums in music history is dropped on this day in 1973, and it became one of the best-selling albums of all time, spending over 900 weeks on the Billboard 200. What am I talking about?
73. What genre of music?
Rock.
All right, Led Zeppelin's big. The Stones are still big. Man, there's a lot of great bands right there during that time. This is also almost 3 full years before I was born. Who was it?
The Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, Pink Floyd.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was released on this day in the United States.
Wow.
All right.
Hey, John Sugar's got a comment. Jose Cespedes played in the outfield for New York.
Right.
Named several times. He still gets Cuban cigars from one of his relatives.
Dude, that's awesome.
So, yeah. Steven, you ever had a Cuban cigar?
No.
They're good. I can't really, I'm not a cigar aficionado, as the magazine is, but I can't really tell the difference between Cuban tobacco and whatever tobacco we use.
Right.
I hadn't smoked a cigar in decades. Actually, I take that back. I had one last spring. at a Crawfish Bowl.
Right.
That's the last time I had one.
Heath, staying with music, man. Can you tell me who recorded a music video on a USS Reasoner on this day in 1978? And it would go on to be the recruitment song for the Navy.
78.
This one's going to make you laugh.
The YMCA. I have no idea.
The Village People in the Navy. The Village People record the music video for their hit In the Navy aboard the USS Reasoner, and after the success of the Village People songs YMCA, in promoting the YMCA, the group was asked to write a recruitment song for the Navy. They gave the Navy the rights to use the song in recruiting ads in exchange for allowing them to shoot the video on the deck of the USS Reasoner.
I am not familiar with any of this. I've heard the song before. But I don't think I even listened to it all the way through. I've heard the song a couple of times, and nothing registers.
Right.
I will go and listen to that song in its entirety directly after the show.
All right. Now, Heath, to wrap this up, we have 2 major deaths on March the 5th. We will begin in 1982, and this guy was a 33-year-old comedian actor. He was one of 7 original cast members of Saturday Night Live. He died in 1982.
Who died in 82? It's not Belushi, is it? Really?
He dies.
He didn't die of a heart attack.
Of a lethal combination of cocaine and heroin known as the speedball. Now listen to this. 2 months later, the woman who was with Belushi at the time of his death, Kathy Smith, gave an interview with the National Enquirer, which she admitted that she had administered the fatal speedball shot. The article titled, "I Killed Belushi." The case was then reopened, and Smith was charged with first-degree murder. A plea bargain reduced the charge to involuntary manslaughter, and she only served 15 months in prison for killing Belushi.
You know, Stephen, I remember that I was in grade school in the 80s, and even middle school.
Yep.
When the whole Just Say No campaign came out. And I remember our teacher talking to us about ideas of how we could beat drugs and this and that. And And the whole time, like, drugs can kill you, drugs kill people.
Yep.
Don't let your friends die. And so I was like, well, if it's killing people, that's murder. I was like, so I remember everyone had to come up with an idea, and we had to go around the room and say our idea. And I was like, if drugs are killing people, why don't we hold these drug dealers to murder charges? And I remember the teacher's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, if someone's giving you something that kills you,
Right.
yeah, like if I gave you poison, you could charge me with murder. If I'm giving you drugs and you die from it,
Yep.
why shouldn't you charge them with murder?
Yes.
And so I remember the teacher said no to it, and I was shocked. I went and told another teacher about it. Like, I think this is good. It's like, oh no, I don't think that idea would work, and blah blah blah. And what are we doing now? Well, in that story, she got charged with murder,
Yep.
and she served 15 months for a manslaughter.
Yeah.
But now politicians on both sides of the aisle are saying we need to charge drug dealers with murder.
It came from Heath Hopkins' mind, right there, man.
In like 1985.
Yep.
Like, why is everyone late to this? Yeah.
Congratulations, Heath.
Steven, what do they call those?
Visionaries.
Well, that too. What do they call those tests? Sometimes when you join an organization or a Fortune 500 company as an employee.
IQ test?
What would you say?
IQ test?
No. It's it talks about your personality and this and that and your strong traits and
I don't know.
I need multiple choice and I could get it, but I'll never forget I think the second strongest of mine was futuristic, and I was like, what in the world is that crap? Because I think sometimes those tests are just complete crap. I was like, what is this? You're wasting my time. I could be doing work. No, you got to take this test. It's going to take you about 2 hours. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? That's 2 hours of work I could get done. But
right.
Yeah, one of them, and I remember all management was like, oh, you got futuristic. And I was, everyone in upper management gets futuristic. And I'm like, I call that common sense, but okay.
Right.
If you see it coming, just prepare for it.
Right.
People are like, no, it's not coming. It's not coming. And here, we should have prepared for this. Like, I've been saying it's coming for like 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. This one I've been saying it's been coming for 40 years? But yeah, there you go.
Heath, to wrap all of this up, what country music stars died in a plane crash in inclement weather on this day in 1963?
Is Hank Williams Sr. part of this? I didn't think so. You got me on this one, Stephen. I probably know this, but I can't recall anything right now.
She had Crazy, Walking After Midnight,
Wow.
and I Fall to Pieces. Country music star Patsy Cline, Hackshaw Hawkins, and Cowboy Copus, and their pilot, Randy Hughes, are killed in a plane crash.
I did not know they died in a plane crash. I did not know that. I did not know the great Patsy Cline. People still redo her songs today.
Yes.
I did not know she died in a plane crash. I just know. I did not know that. I don't know how I didn't know that, but I didn't.
And she was flying back from Oklahoma at an event that she did, a fundraising event for a disc jockey there in Oklahoma who had died in a car wreck a couple of weeks prior.
Wow. Now that sounds like a Final Destination plot. That's a little crazy. I've seen like half a final. Probably not even half. Maybe like a fourth to a third of one Final Destination. I've never watched any of those movies. I'm not against them. I never got into that franchise. Well, I know why. I was working at that time. I was a young college kid, or straight out of college.
So, Heath, no show tomorrow because I'm actually going to an event in Birmingham, Alabama. So, today was our Friday show. What are you doing this weekend, my friend?
Oh man, I only have one house with the flu now.
Well,
I
that's
had
good.
two. I had two. Now we're down to one. Spring break starts tomorrow.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so we're trying to get through one more school day tomorrow, and then we got spring break. So and time changes this weekend, doesn't it? Don't we
no.
have the time change this weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, they always move the spring break to the time change, which I like because that helps the kids. They get a full week to adjust.
Right.
But you miserable people that wear your flannel and love cold weather, you lost. We won again.
Yes.
Springtime is back, baby.
Yeah.
I love long days. I love sunshine. I love warm weather. I like flip flops. I like cold drinks. I don't understand.
Boat drinks. Boat drinks.
Love boat drinks, which is a song about hating the cold. That's my second
Yes.
favorite Jimmy Buffett song.
Yes.
But yeah, crazy to think about winter. It was kind of a mild winter, except for like those 3 weeks here, Stephen,
Yeah.
where we had snow and it just would not go away.
Now,
So
Heath, tomorrow, I'm looking at the national day of today. And speaking of, you talk about spring, tomorrow is National Spray Tanning Day.
I'll never forget, Stephen. Feel free to laugh at me and make fun of me for this. I've never had a spray tan, but when I first got into television and I went from reporter to being in studio and being an anchor, a news anchor, they told me, "Hey, you might." I mean, I got dark skin anyway. I got olive skin. I got Native American blood in me. I got Italian blood in me. You know, my skin's usually dark all the time. But they told me this like, hey, you might want to start going to it. It was wintertime. And they were like,
Right.
you might want to start going to a tanning bed. And I'm like, it's like, I've never done that before. And so they're like, yeah, you might want to start doing this. So anyway, there was a place close to my apartment. It was like literally a street over. It was less than 100 yards away. I was living in the Cotton District in Starkville.
Mm-hmm.
And I could walk there. And so they had this package. They're like, oh, you get one free bronzer. I was like, I don't know what that is. And it was like, oh, it's a special tanning bed, and you do this special lotion, and then you like, oh, okay, whatever. And so anyway, you get one free bronzer. Like, great, sure, whatever the cheapest package is what I want. And so I got it. I tanned, and so anyway, it was getting like, you haven't used your bronzer yet, and I was like, your package is almost over, and you haven't used your bronzer. And like I said, it's wintertime, spring's coming. And I'm like,
Right.
all right, it's like this time of year. I had a good friend getting married. Let me rephrase that. I had a good friend. Her friend was getting married. She invited me to be her date to the wedding. And so like, you have to use this bronzer package. I was like, I don't have to do anything. Can I like give it to somebody, you know? So anyway, it's like, you need to do the bronzer. Like, okay, whatever. I'll do the bronzer. So I get in there and they were like, okay, you got to use this special stuff. It's like a gun. You spray it yourself. And I'm like, okay. And so I just kind of put it on. I lay down. And they said that this bronzer it's a lot shorter. You're usually in the bed for whatever it was, 15 minutes. This bronzer is only like 8 minutes long. Okay, great. Whatever. Just, I got to get going. So I do it. I come out. And the girl that worked there, I used to have class with. I knew her, and I came out, and she's like, "Whoa, that really, really bronzed you." I was like, "What?" Like, I didn't look in the mirror, and
Right.
she was like, "You tan real easy, don't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So like, I walk home, which is, like I said, a street over. I look in the mirror. I look like I'm Colombian or something.
Right.
And I'm like, what in the world? So I immediately run to the shower and see if I can't wash some of the stuff off. And when I was looking in the shower, because they was like, don't shower for, I can't remember the time, 10 minutes, 2 hours, 12 hours. I can't remember what it was. I immediately went to the shower and tried to start rubbing that stuff off. And so anyway, I go to the wedding and my friend was like, did you go like fishing or something this week? Yep, that's exactly what I did. I went fishing. I got a little too much sun.
That's awesome.
I had not been fishing.
Yeah.
So yeah, fun stuff. But yeah, that's my tanning bed experience story. I don't have anything else to add to tanning beds. Like I did it that one time, and there you go.
Heath, have you ever seen Christmas with the Cranks?
Oh yeah,
with Tim Allen, and they both
with
go
a
in
bow
there.
tie to his bikini, and
They both go in there for the spray tan. And that girl behind the counter, she's so ditzy, and she goes, "You look like a corpse."
Oh man,
Everybody,
crazy.
I don't know.
I went to high school briefly. There was a reality show called Sunset Tan. I never watched it, but I went to high school with the girl that was on that show.
Wow.
And yeah, we're Facebook friends. I mean, it's like we never talk or see each other. She lives in Oxford now.
Mm-hmm.
I think she does some kind of, I don't know if she does like hair or beauty or tanning she has some kind of woman's boutique health makeup place. I don't know what you call it.
Right.
But she's in Oxford.
So Heath, also tomorrow, to wrap everything up, tomorrow is National White Chocolate Cheesecake Day. It is also National Oreo Cookie Day.
Wow. I don't really care for cheesecake. I don't dislike it. I don't think it's that great. I think I'm the only person on the planet that doesn't like cheesecake. Everyone looks at me like I'm crazy when I say that. Like if there was a box of Oreos or a thing of Oreos and white chocolate cheesecake, I'm going to pick the Oreos.
And Heath, finally, for anybody out there that's watching this or may watch this, you do not want to eat a Oreo cookie or a white chocolate cheesecake and then go to this. Tomorrow is National Dentist Day.
You know, they used to say that profession had the most suicides in it. I don't know if I ever believed that stat.
Right.
All the dentists I know, they're living fat and happy and they enjoy life.
Right.
I don't know. No one likes to go into the dentist and they don't like being, everyone's depressed when they go there. That's why they like, I think you made all that up. I just don't buy that.
Well,
I never heard that story.
But the reason that everybody's scared to go to the dentist was because way back in the day, back in the boomer era, they did not have any of the deadening stuff, and you just had to sit there and take it, whatever they did to you, man. I mean, they have come a long way in the dental profession since way back in the 50s and 60s.
That is insane, Steven.
So,
hey, did you ever see the movie Doc Hollywood with Michael J. Fox? Woody Harrelson is in that movie.
Right.
And Woody Harrelson just plays this just idiotic country bumpkin. He nails the role. He is so funny in that movie. And he tries to be sophisticated and he's a one-upper in the movie, but he's just this small town country bumpkin guy. And he's like, yeah, I thought about being a doctor. He said, I just didn't like all that science stuff. I wasn't good at science. You're like, what? That's kind of a part of it. And then he goes, yeah. He goes, what kind of doctor are you? He said, yeah, dentist is not a real doctor. You can't trust a man that puts his hands in people's mouth for a living. You can't never trust a man that puts his hands in your mouth. I was like, what kind of country bumpkin craziness is that?
Right.
And so, but Woody Harrelson nails that role.
Heath, if you have a phobia of the dentist, it is from your parents and your grandparents' stories. So thank you to the boomers for that one. Because they really had to endure a lot back then.
Got 4 kids. When we take them to the dentist, we try to take all 4 of them at the same time.
Oh,
Yeah. And where we go, they've got like 6 to 8 places back there. I don't want to call them chairs. I almost call them beds, dental chairs. And so everyone's back there, and Dennis is, nice to us. Of course, he's checking each one, and we're making small talk. He's an acquaintance. He's not a good friend. He's a great dentist. Kids like him. And anyway, I saw him at the daddy-daughter dance here a couple of weekends ago, and I was going to go up to shake his hand, and I noticed like every little girl was going up there, Doctor, and hugging him, and I could tell he was getting annoyed. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go up and shake his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And being a former reporter and news anchor, sometimes you're out to eat with your family at a restaurant, and people start coming up and talking like they think they know you, and
right,
they don't know you. And so you're sitting there and you're talking, and you're trying to be pleasant and everything. And this was more when I was a news anchor, but I'd stand up. Back then I wasn't even married. I was a single man. I'd be on a date with somebody. I was like, man, you kind of crushing my vibe here, yo.
Right.
And so you're wasting my flavor, yo. And so anyway, I would get up and she goes, hey, I appreciate you watching. Thanks for coming by and saying something. And I would kind of like walk them away from the table, and then I'd go back and sit down. And some people like pay their check and come back and start talking to you again. I'm like, dude, like, come on, man. So it's always fun when people come up and say hi and shake your hand. But sometimes when you're with your family, like eating dinner, like, don't do that. And I was thinking, this guy's here. Our dentist is here with his daughter trying to create memories. And every single girl in this place has to come up and hug him. And, hey, doctor. And, I was like, man, I feel for you, guy. So next time our kids go to the dentist, and we'll say, hey, I wanted to come up and talk to you at the daddy-daughter dance, but I see you're getting annoyed with all these little brats coming up. No, I'm joking. Those girls were so sweet. They had a blast that night.
Heath, that is going to wrap up our tribute show to the late, great Lou Holtz. May he rest in peace. Heath, have a wonderful Friday and weekend. And when we return on the Monday edition of the Stingray Show, we will have the seeding for the SEC basketball tournament that will begin next week. And we will do a dive into the preview of the SEC basketball tournament starting next week on the Monday edition of the Stingray Show. Thank you, Lou Holtz, for all of your memories and famous quips and quotes. You will definitely be missed by a lot of people, and may you rest in peace, my friend.
Thank you, Stephen. Thanks, Coach.
It's a new year, and now is the best time to review your insurance policies. With a helpful customer service team here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi. For all of your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call the Jeff Nee Agency of Alpha Insurance to create a customized plan to protect your family's home and autos. You can stop by his office at 3428 McFarland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or simply call 205-462-8192, or call the number on your screen right there. And remember, with Alpha Insurance, the more you protect it, the more you save. Reach out to the Jeff Nee Agency of Alpha today for all of your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs. For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 371-2227 to schedule an appointment to build your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. I tell people when they come in, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. We've got the capability to process it, make it. If you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do your brisket blend. We'll do your chuck blend. We'll do your sirloin blend. We do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. It's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. People call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show.